After a woeful season, Amorim addresses the press, saying that to compete this year, we need to sign competitors. He goes on to say there's no European games this season, so we have no excuses but to perform. The recruitment style must change if we're going to become better. So, pretty strong statements at the start of the season. In the summer, we're going to need to really strengthen up. We were sent a shortlist by Jim Ratcliffe of a bunch of players that could maybe join and sort of improve the 11 or squad depth, including some good centre backs from the Prem, Murillo. They got Schlotterbeck, some options in Europe. Moving on to the midfield, Frimpong's already moved to Liverpool in real life, but players like Cherky, Edison, there will be lots of teams looking for them in the summer. And yeah, I'd say this. This is sort of the next 4 years, so some of the players obviously won't join us right now, but maybe in 2 or 3 years' time they could be targets, especially with Cole Palmer, Camavinga, someone that I think could suit the system very nicely. Also, players like Buscagli, Perisic, and David will be available on frees. After bringing in Diego Leon and João Samoes, who's from Sporting and is a young, sort of cheap prospect, decided to transfer list quite a few targets. And then, as in real life, bringing in Mateus Cunha, arguably the most obvious signing this summer. He's played in a similar system. He's an impact player. He scored something like 14 goals in the Prem, so it's someone that can really take the game by the scruff of the neck and just go for it. Then we went to get Angelo Stiller, bit of a less obvious option, but he's a great midfielder and can really grow into the team. Ryan Cherky, I'm a huge fan of. I know we scratched his balls at United fans in the Lyon game, but at the same time he was one of the best players that they had, and he's been one of the top players for a few years now, someone with a lot of potential, so I think considering that Lyon are also in need of money immediately, why not go for it? What's the downside? I've heard they're in quite a lot of financial trouble, so maybe 30 million is around what City in real life might be paying for them, or Liverpool. We'll see who gets him. But I really think United should go for him. We need more creative players, I think, than finishers. Because although Højlund struggled this season, I do also think that people forget that, he hasn't really been supplied that much. And just because every week that's true doesn't mean after 10 weeks it's not still true. So I think we really need players that can just generally threaten in spaces. And Cherky and Cunha, they both had really good campaigns. I think Cherky had almost the most assists ever in a Europa League campaign. I don't know if I read that somewhere. So he's someone that when you're thinking about who's the next Wayne Rooney, who's the next Ronaldo, who's the next big player in the Prem that United have sort of been known to pick up, players like this, you can't just ignore them, especially when they're not going to really cost you much as well. You can't ignore those opportunities to find the next Mo Salah and the next big player who can really just carry you to the title. We've agreed an important role for him in the team, but just like Angelo Stiller, I think he's going to grow into the team. I don't think he will start every single game. Obviously, we still have Garnacho. Mino can play up there as well, and Xerxes can be a bit more of a physical option in some games. But yeah, like Dorgu, Stiller, they're players I can see them starting in a few years. We tweak the formation slightly, so Ahmad would regularly start on the right side as a right wing back, but we'll play him as more of a wide playmaker, and Dallo will be more defensive. With that all said and done, we went into the first game of the season against Newcastle away, which is usually, usually as a United have had quite easy games to start with each season, or at least we do perform well. We rarely play big sides in the first game, and usually it does happen to be at home as well. So I think playing at St James's Park is always going to be a game that you don't expect to walk away with 3 points, honestly. It's a lot of atmosphere, it's a team that's only getting stronger each year. So we really had to show up and show that we were different than last year. I think we lost something like 18 games this season, so, in terms of responding in the 25-26 campaign, we can't really be losing games. We need to, even if we're not going to win, we need to show that we're the better team. But also actually, score some goals, take some points from it. I think last year we had so many games where we were just, on XG performing really highly. So I don't know if most United fans will remember, at the start of the season with Ten Hag, we were playing that 4-2-4 strange formation. Bruno was essentially playing as a striker in some of the games. And we racked up an insane XG where we'd be against, I think teams like Brighton. I think there was another game just at the start against sort of a weaker team. I think it was Fulham, possibly. Bruno could have scored 2 or 3 goals, but he just kept missing his chances, and I think all of that pressure it built up, and eventually, once we faced the bigger teams like Liverpool, I believe it was Spurs as well, that they both beat us 3-0. That's when it really turned our luck, where it felt like, we had a chance to really show that we are like the best team. But yeah, we just didn't really capitalise on those opportunities, and eventually that just catches up to you. I think Spurs have been like that also, where they had a really bad injury crisis at one point, but at some point excuses aren't enough to, sort of justify you losing games and just being outcompeted by every team. They usually, when I watch them, they play pretty decent football sometimes, like really attacking football, and then sometimes it just crumbles. I don't know what that finish was there. That was unreal, awful from Newcastle. I'd say so far in terms of, the chances, we've had a few good chances there. We could have probably scored just then as well. But it's been very end to end, and I feel like the signings are definitely showing that they've got a bit of something. Mainly Cunha, out of anyone, because I think out of the 5 signings we've made, he's the only one that's really going to be straight in that 11, and is expected to sort of lead the team, because I do find it to be quite a similar profile to Bruno in some ways as a personality, but yeah, close chance there as well. Um, it will be interesting in real life to see what happens with Bruno, whether he stays or he goes. I think 80 mil is a lot. We do need money, but how many players can we get hold of? Can we afford, or even players that will want to come to us, that will cost less than 80, that could replace Bruno? Because I can't think of many, to be honest. Same goes with strikers, to be honest, as well. But yeah, there you go. So it's Luis Openda, good striker from Bundesliga, has come to Newcastle not in real life, in FIFA. Also got Mbuemo, it seems. And yeah, he's a good finish there. I think this game has been very end to end. I don't think we've been rolled over as I thought we could have been, especially with the 3-back not being fully fledged still. So we decided to make some subs still, give some debuts. So Angelo Stiller coming on, probably not his ideal dream debut, but it's all about getting the minutes in the tank. So I guess we'll just have to see if anything happens, but unfortunately too late. So we lost that game 1-0. And then it was over to the Emirates, actually. So second game of the season, almost as hard as the first. It's an away day, but a club that you're not really expecting to win against. But it was a really good chance from Cunha there that was missed by Højlund. And Saka's put away a penalty straight after, but to respond, Cunha scored his first goal with United. Good play here. I think it's Ahmad, I believe, there, who's ran through. Missed chance by Højlund, but Cunha's put away the second chance. So that extra goal threat sort of helped us, but unfortunately Arsenal responded still. Really good finish, not much he could have done, and it's another loss. Looking at our sales, we moved on Anthony, Malacia, Rashford to Brentford. I think is quite realistic. I really think Mount should go to a team like Inter Milan in real life. A lot of those ex-Chelsea players have sorted out their injury crisis, over in Italy, slower pace in the league. In terms of signings, we kept Heaton on for 1 more year. And yeah, other than that, the signings. Good start against Palace, our 3rd game of the season. It's a good run from Cunha here. Sort of just moved past, and I think in this game we might have started him as a striker possibly, or maybe it was Xerxes. I think Højlund was dropped. Anthony almost scored there, but there you go. Angelo Stiller's first goal for United. Really good finish. I think he's the kind of guy who can score those kinds of goals. Very skillful. There you go. Got a brace as well for Cunha. Got an actual running through. Hopefully, it'd be nice if he does play a role next year, but the way it's looking, he will probably be leaving, especially with all the fallout with Amorim. Our starting 11 was more attacking than usual against Leeds, as we really needed to get some points on the board. It was a good goal from Xerxes, bringing us hopefully out of the depths of 14th. Good header, just an easy finish there, and it was enough to get us 3 points. Moving on to Burnley, we got to 2-0 quite quickly. Most of the promoted sides, they'll be coming up this year. I don't think they'll be too challenging to beat. And I think players like Cunha, they'll be good against these smaller sides that aren't as intense maybe to play against. And he can just sort of got some good finishes. Good finish from Ahmad there. And then Garnacho's made it 4. I think players like Garnacho so far in the season have struggled, haven't really scored many goals, but when you've got pace, you've got a lot of attackers coming on. There's no reason why he can't get a goal as well. It was nearing to Christmas now, just getting to sort of the more heated part of the season. At least for most teams. For us, we had no European football, so it's a bit easier, but we came up against Brentford, who I believe are one of the teams that might be in Europe. I can't remember actually on that. But yeah, good move from Turkey here, running all the way through, and really good finish there. Cunha went on to make it 2-0, so that's both our signings making an impact there. And this is the kind of goal that you want to see from this system, just wide movement, putting it across the box. Weezer, absolute baller, made a really good finish here, just to bring it back slightly. And then Rashford, our own man, he didn't really celebrate, which is nice to see, but he's one of those players that you feel like he's not going to work for our system, but good finish, he can do that, he can score those goals, and just at the end as well, it's getting a bit panicky. Injury time, some good play there. He's starting to think it's a 3-on-3. Do they have a chance here? But really good challenge from the defender, and it was enough in the end to get a point at home. By the midway point of the season, we were standing in 9th, which is not ideal at all, but at least we're in the hunt for Europe. We weren't that many points off, sort of gaining a place there. Checking through our form, it was really poor for the first 5 games. We lost many of them, but I think things started to turn slightly. The form was still spotty, but I think we started to win more of the games that we were supposed to win. In terms of goals, Højlund was still struggling a bit. Ahmad was playing okay. Cunha was basically our saving grace for the season. And Bruno is really carrying us as usual. I think Dorgu as well turned out to play much better than I thought he would. However, as we reach a close for the episode, we get an update from the assistant telling us that Martinez is now fit. His long-standing ACL injury will be over, so next episode we'll be seeing can he make an impact on the team? Can we chase into Europe as we really need to? Otherwise, maybe Amorim won't be keeping his job in this career mode. Maybe he's not really suited. But it's definitely a mixed bag so far, and we'll see what happens next time.